If you've been a longtime viewer of Ukraine Update on the Shills here, you'll know that from time to time we've done Tales of Young Starsky, and we've almost started a cooking show as well. Well, here's a new stinger that DKG put together for Tales of Young Starsky. Yes, it's coming your way, buddy. Oh, check this out.
I wasn't prepared for that. Yeah. Okay. So where do I start? So you know that I was a military brat, and I lived at different military bases all my childhood. When we moved to Kiev from Honcharivska, Chernihiv Oblast, this military base became my home for several years, and I absolutely loved it because I could just hang around with other kids of Ukrainian officers. We were cycling bikes around military base, um, sticking to like trucks. You know, when truck passes by and you grab it and you ride like that. Of course, we could die, but it was so cool. And sometimes, because there was an so-called officer shooting range, officer shooting range. It's not the range where you shoot officers, however, you can be an officer, for a while at least. But it's when it's where the officers shoot their handguns, and mostly I'm talking about like Makarov pistols and shit like that. I hate Makarov pistol with all my heart, even though I have one. Uh, but it's like it's the worst thing you can imagine. Basically, it's like Soviet copy of Walther PPK using a different bullet. Walther is 9 by 19 millimeter. This one is 9 by 18 millimeter. And because it's a Soviet copy, it sucks. And that was the handgun that I used to shoot most at that shooting range, because my father would always take me with him to the shooting range, because he was an officer, so he could. And I was like 6, 7 years old. I totally enjoyed shooting those handguns, and there was one thing. My father taught me to shoot using, like, to hold a handgun using my both hands. In the field manual, a Ukrainian officer, I think we had that before 2014, and same shit for Russian officers, basically Soviet officers, and I think that Russians still have that shit. It's they are taught to shoot using one hand, so they go like this, and the other hand is behind his back, and he's like aiming and shooting, which is of course less effective, because you're especially because we're talking about Soviet officers who drank like pigs. That's why, you know, their hands were all over the place, shaking and stuff. So even though I was a smaller guy, and I was shooting it with my both hands, and I couldn't even chamber the bullet, because I couldn't do that physically. I lacked force, but I was shooting well actually, and there were many cases when, for example, you go. It was like an underground shooting range, and you go there and you can see like a bunch of officers, like, you know, smoking and trying to like aim, and then after a minute of aiming, he goes bam, and it's bullseye. And I'm like, whatever. I take it with both hands. My dad chambers the bullet, and I'm like, bam, 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 and it's like 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. So it was kind of funny. But the reason, do you want to know why Soviet officers were taught to shoot with one hand?
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's because when you are just so you could understand the level of degradation, okay? It's because when you are riding a horse, you have to use one hand to rule your horse. And it
It
was
has
like,
nothing to do with holding a vodka bottle.
no, basically it's because of horse. And I haven't seen Soviet army using horses since probably like early 40s.
Wow.
So that's the story.
Do Russians carry around feed bags in case their tanks get hungry? Like, it's just ridiculous thinking.